Hi, parents and teachers! This is Teacher Tin, and today I'm going to talk about how I conduct my e reading sessions. So, our book for today is entitled, let me present it to you, Why We Stay Home. Susie learns about coronavirus. So, I chose this book because it's very relevant today and it can help in discussing the virus, the pandemic to our young kids. So this book is written by Samantha Harris and Devon Scott. It is illustrated by Harriet Rhodes. So the original copy of the book that I have, which is also available in my activity pack, is in PDF form. But it's a bit hard to navigate the pages when you use PDF, so I opted to use Google Slides. Also because I can add transitions and animation. So here, I added the move right transition, so it's easier to move from one page to another, and it somehow mimics how we flip a book. There's a flip effect that is available in PowerPoint. However, in Google Slides, there are only limited options, so I just made do with what I have. Alright, so we'll go back to the book later. So let me just present it to you so that you'll know what's inside. So I think it covers many of the important aspects of how to stop preventing the coronavirus, and it's also engaging because of the characters. There are two sisters, one big sister and one younger sister. Alright, so how do I begin? I begin by setting up my Zoom account. So right now, I'm using my basic Zoom account. So I have my personal meeting ID. For security purposes, I highly encourage that you use a password. Also, you can pre-schedule your meetings with your kids so that they just have to log in the specified time that you agreed to have the session. Okay, so once a kid already has the invitation, I direct them in my Zoom app. It's best to have a waiting room as well. It's found here in Manage Participants, and then you will see this white rectangular box. Before a kid enters, you have to click Admit. So this is one way of trying to prevent Zoom bombing or being hacked. Another security feature that Zoom added is the security button. So here, you have to click lock meeting. So by doing so, it says here you've locked the meeting, no one else can join. So it is only the ones whom you give the password and the meeting ID that can enter your room. Alright, so after that, I will use share screen. So it will direct you to this rectangular box. Notice that I only have two boxes I will use here and they're already open. Oh no, my connection is unstable. Never mind that. Okay, so here I recommend that you open all the tabs and the materials beforehand so that Zoom can recognize which screen you're going to use. So depending on the number of platforms, there will be two, three, um, share screens that you can do. So here I have two. I have one for Google and then one for a PowerPoint presentation. Now, I use Google Slides because I can just open different tabs and then there will just shared screen for it. Every time that you shift from one platform to another, you have to stop the share screen and restart. So it's best to lessen the platforms that you use so that you don't have to do a lot of stopping the share screen feature and then restarting. Okay, so let's share it now. So the first thing I do would be with my student, that is, would be to introduce the schedule. So I greet them and then I say, today, these are the things that we're going to do. So usually it's just around three or four, depending on the age of the student I work with. So this one's for K to 2. I just limit it into four tasks. Each task has a box that corresponds with it. So what happens is that every time a child finishes a task, all he or she has to do is to click on the picture, drag it, and put it in the box. It means it's done. What I like about Google Slides is one, it's interactive. Your kid can manipulate the slide once you share it with him or her. So it's very easy. Just click share. Sorry. And then you just input the Gmail account of your student, send it to him or her. And once he or she opens it, then he or she can control the slide with you. Okay. Now, it's best to give the slides beforehand so that once they open their Zoom account, the slides are also open. It's easier for them to shift platforms because we want to lessen navigation problems. All right. So another reason why I like Google Slides is we can use GIFs. So these are moving pictures. I integrate my students' interests not only in the visual schedule but also in my virtual background. Kasi 'di ba nasa bahay sila, so marami silang distractions. So instead of them focusing on their gadgets that are not part of your online learning sessions or going back and forth in the house, going to the ref and getting food and so on, what I do is that I try to keep my sessions engaging by incorporating their interests. So here, I have a visual schedule for someone who likes Disney princesses. So even the characters I use for the schedule are based on the kid's request or interest. So, kung boy si kid, pwede siyang heroes, Batman, Superman. So, depende kung ano yung gusto nung bata. So, you also ask them so that they have a sense of ownership in the activities that they do. Alright, so after discussing the schedule, I will present the activities. Now, because this is a reading session, I designed it in such a way that there's pre-reading, during reading, and post-reading. Now, we will use Why We Stay Home, but for younger kids, you can also use the book, Coffee Book by Manuela Molina. Let me show it to you. So this is the site where you can get it. Okay, what I like about Coffee Book, it's simpler. There are shorter sentences. The pictures more are more what do you call this? More appealing to younger kids because of the art, but it's still very artistic and very interesting. It also comes in different languages, which is cool. However, I don't think they have Filipino, so we'll use the English one. It looks like this. So you have to download it in PDF form. Let me go to the first part. Okay, so it's like this. Hello, I'm a virus, cousin with the flu and the common cold. So there are less difficult words here than why we stay home, which I will introduce later. So I love to travel. So there are just around 1 to 3 sentences per page, but mostly one-liners. It's also engaging because it has parts wherein have you heard about me, and then the kid using the tools of Zoom can answer this. So let me show you how it's done. So here we have the option annotate, and then we can use draw. So the kid can put the check mark there using the draw tool, or the kid can use the stamp. There's also a check mark stamp here. There, but it's small. So it's up to you how you want to do it. Now, this is me controlling the screen, but you can also share the control to your student. How do we do that? There's a usually because my student right now is not a real student. Usually there will be a remote control option, and then it will ask you there to whom do you want to share the remote control with. All you have to do is to click the name of your student, and then your student can already put marks or control your screen. Okay, I will do that in my other video, how to use Zoom, so you can check that also. Or for now, since I don't have the video yet, you can check out my Google Slides. So there. And then because they're young kids, you can just let them choose like how do you feel when you hear my name, and then they can color. So let's try annotate. I want blue. Yeah, for example, it makes them feel worried, so they can color. So I'm using a touch screen laptop, so it's easier to use your fingers. If you want your kids to mimic how to use a an actual pencil or an actual pen. If you have Mac, you can use the Apple Pen. If you have the Note, Samsung Note, you can use the pen there as well. But if you have touch screens like tablets or touch screen laptops, you can use the finger. That's easier compared to teaching the kids how to use the mouse, especially for drag and drop activities that require some form of training. So what I do is that I give parents exercises so that they can practice with the drag and drop use of the mouse. So this is something that needs to be explicitly taught to kids. Okay, let's just clear the drawing. So there, that's one option for books that you can use with your kids. So let's just close that. Let's go back to the activity pack. Okay, so part of pre-reading is introducing difficult words or words that the child might have difficulty knowing the meanings of or unfamiliar with. So I chose 4 words. So let me present that. So to do the pre-reading, the unlocking, I have a picture association activity. So the picture will show like this, and upon showing the picture, I will make sentences. This can be done orally, or if you want it to appear in the screen, you can type it. So my sample sentence for the first word, which is risk, okay, is this, okay? To avoid the risk of getting hurt, we must follow traffic rules. Okay, from the sentence, you can infer that the meaning of risk is a situation that can harm a person or cause danger. Now, upon saying the sentence, you can have follow-up questions like, what do you think would have happened to the boy if he did not follow traffic rules? So, responses could be the boy might get hurt, the boy might get into an accident, and those are examples of risk. You can extend the discussion by contrasting a situation that is a potential risk to a situation that is safe. And then you can proceed with asking the kid to think of situations that he or she can consider a risk, or just use the word risk in his or her own sentence already. Another word that I can use to and associate with the picture is preventing. So my sample sentence is traffic enforcers help in preventing accidents. Now, here from the sentence, the word preventing, we can infer from the sentence that the word preventing means stopping or keeping something from happening. So you can also contrast this with starting, which is the opposite of stopping, or the synonym of stopping is preventing. Other words would be reason and stick together. So my sample sentence for reason is, the reason why I help my grandpa is because I love him. Or because I love him, I help my grandpa. So here, we can say that in the sentence, what did the boy do? What is the boy doing? He helps his grandfather. Why is he doing it? Because he loves him. Because he loves him is the reason. So we can proceed with explaining that reason is why something happens. Sometimes it's called, or oftentimes it's called the cause. Now, the thing that happened is the result or the effect. So you can discuss the cause and effect relationship. However, for kids with autism, the reason here is rooted on intention. Like, why is he doing it? Because he loves him. There's an intention component. And it's also related to feeling. So you might need to explore that further for kids to really understand it. One way of doing it is to interview their parents if there are similar situations that are parallel to what you are introducing. So it's very important for kids with autism to establish patterns and to make connections. So that's one way of explaining the intention and the emotional aspect in the sample sentence. Now, stick together. This is interesting because it has a literal and non-literal meaning. In the story, the sisters said, the sisters rather, said that they will stick together in order to survive the coronavirus. It's not really verbatim, but that's the idea. So stick together here is more than just staying close or being physically near to someone. It has this non-literal meaning, which means to support each other. So this one needs to be explained further so that the child would understand that stick together is a phrase that is related to having a sense of security, having a sense of trust. That is something that you give to your relatives, to your friends, or to your loved ones. Okay? There. So when you're done with the words, the next thing you do is to do some activation of prior knowledge. So what we want to do is to find out first what the child knows about the virus. So here, the instruction is, what do you know about the topic? List them down. So you can either help them type using the text boxes. So I use the Google Slides in this view because when it's presented, it's hard to edit. So use this one so that they can type. They can opt to type in the boxes, in the text boxes, or you can use Zoom. So here in Zoom, we have annotate. We can either use draw. So we can write here. Let's change the color so it's easy to see. Let's use yellow. So there, virus. Teacher, I know that it's a virus. So they can write using the draw tool, or they can use, clear natin, they can use text. So all they have to do is to click that, and then a text box will appear, and then they can type inside. If they still have a hard time typing, the guardian, the caregiver, the parent, the older sibling can help in the typing. If the child already knows how to write incomplete sentences, then you may encourage the child to do so. If not, if it's just one word responses, then that's fine, okay? So be ready with prompt questions so that you can assist your student in creating responses for this activity. Okay. All right, let's just clear all the drawings. Okay, next part of activation is this. Okay. So it's still related to the coronavirus. Clear all drawings. There you go. Okay. So the next question is, do you like it? Yes or no. So here, again, you can use the draw tool. So let's say the kid says no, so he or she can draw a check mark, or he can use or she can use a stamp, but it's small, like that. So that's one way of answering. Or you can insert an image. Wait, undo. Okay, mouse. Insert an image either from your computer, so you can upload an image from your computer. So I have here check PNG. So I've already looked for one. You can look for it as you're doing the activity, or you can just have the check mark here and then do a drag and drop move like that. Or you can also insert from the web. What I like with Google Slides is that it's connected with Google Chrome, and then the clip arts are already available. You don't need to go to the sites where there are PNG pictures, and sometimes they ask you to link your FB or your email, and if you have security concerns, so this is a friendlier option. Let's use the yellow one because it's cute. So just click it, then click insert. Notice I type PNG because PNG, wait lang, here. Let me resize that so it can fit our box. PNG has a transparent background. Even this coronavirus clip art here, it's not really part of the preset and Slides Go. So I researched it in the internet. It's a PNG picture. Oh, look, it's transparent. So when I attach it to the slide, it looks like it's part of the slide. And lucky me, I was able to look for one that matches the color scheme of the slide. So that takes some effort to look for pictures. So there, no. And then encourage them to explain, to give reasons for their answers. So pwedeng, it makes you stay home, it is scary. So that's an example. It is scary. It is scary. Then the next question is, how does its existence or how does it make you feel? So for some kids, they can immediately state what they feel. So pwedeng angry. Again, they can use the type part of Zoom or the draw part, whichever works for the kid. For some kids, they might have a hard time labeling what they feel, so you can assist them in drawing. So perhaps you can draw the picture. How does it make you feel? Then teacher, and then the kid says, this is how it makes me feel, teacher. Then you can just help the kid label the feeling. So is it happy? Is it sad? And so on. So that's one way of accommodating kids who have limited vocabulary or difficulty expressing themselves. And then why? Now, why do we put why questions? Of course, we don't want them to just state an answer, but we want them to learn that part of it is the thinking process, giving explanations and knowing connections. For example, with feelings, feelings are not random. They have consequences, they have antecedents. So it helps not only with comprehension and expression, but also understanding how feelings work, which is an important skill in developing their EQ. Okay, let's clear all that. Click mouse and then proceed to the next slide. The next slide is, because of the coronavirus, what are the things that you can do and what are the things that you cannot do? So if they have a hard time typing or labeling the things that they can do or their activities, you can allow them to draw, okay? There, so things I can do before, like I can go out. Example responses would be, I can go outside. Let's just change the font so it's bigger and you can see better. Oh no, not 50. 50 is too much. Let's do it 25. It's too big also. Let's do it 15. Like I can go outside and meet my friends. What is one thing that you cannot do now or you're not allowed to do because we are in quarantine? I have to stay home. To stay home all the time. So this one connects also the feeling part. It helps them realize you can do this first if you want, so that they understand the connection of situations occurring that leads to their emotions. There, let's just make it white. Now, this is an important pre-reading activity because we're going to connect it with the experiences of the characters. The characters in the story cannot go out. At first, the younger sister thinks it's fun, and then the older sister explains that actually it's not a fun thing that's happening right now. So there's more building connections with their experiences as readers and the ones that will be presented in the book. So that's part of the pre-reading. So if you're done with all of these activities, you can now proceed with story time. By the way, let's just go back with slides 8 and 9. So here, particularly slide 8, after reading, you can go back to this slide because the kid might have misconceptions or wrong understanding of the coronavirus. Not that we want them to feel bad na, oh, you didn't know the right thing about coronavirus. Not that. It's more of helping them develop the ability to track and monitor their comprehension. So if they learn something new, they can edit their responses. Because that's part of reading, revising what you know based on what you've learned from the material. So you can allow them to make changes in what they wrote here in slide 8 as a post-reading activity. Okay? There. So in story time, I listed down here questions. So what's going to happen is that you're going to present the book. And as you present the book, you ask them questions. So what would be examples of questions that I've identified here? So who are the two sisters? So some are just about the details. The others are about the feelings of the characters. The others are about what the coronavirus is. What is the book talking about it? Like why are they in quarantine? What are the steps? How to prevent it? What are the symptoms of someone who has the virus? How are the kids in the story the same or alike as the students that you have, or with rather the students that you have? And then how does it affect their perception knowing that there are other kids that experience what they're experiencing as well? And then questions about describing their relationships with their siblings, how do they show support for people that they love? And then I have here a question that says, who else do you think should we think or show support at this time? What makes you think so? Now, the answer to this question is not found in the book. This is an example of the kinds of questions wherein kids are asked to extend their understanding to other situations. So this is a prompt also to think about frontliners and about their contribution as kids, because by staying home, they too are able to help prevent the spread of the virus. So we want to have questions that are not just about the details in the story, but more about relating to the text, relating to feelings, also thinking of situations that are outside the box or facilitating their imagination, doing applications, and so on. So these are all higher order thinking skills. So we don't just dwell on the details in the story. So as we read, we ask these questions. So some questions are during reading, the others are post reading. Now, what I like about Zoom is that, for example, I'll present this. If you want to do shared reading with your kids, let me just navigate this, okay, and adjust some of the tools so that wait, they wouldn't see all that. Ayan. What I like about Zoom is that you can foster interaction by doing shared reading. But of course, it's hard if you do not know how to track what they're reading at the moment. So sometimes what I do is that I put stamps on the words that I say. Wait, let me undo that. Like as I read, I do this. I was just thinking how happy I am that me, you, mommy, and daddy have been staying home together. Of course, try not to cover the words. Or if the stamps don't work, you can also use lines like this. I was just thinking how happy I am that me, you, mommy, and daddy have been staying home together. It's fun, Susie replied. So somehow, even if the kid is not with you physically, you're able to help them track. Okay? What they're reading. So it's really nice that Zoom has these features that allow you to interact with your students virtually. All right, so let's say that we're done with, okay, let me just quit presenting this, clear all drawings. Okay, mouse. Oh no, how do we, there, exit. Okay. Okay, so let's say you're done with the story reading and asking questions. We can now proceed to checking for understanding. So these are post reading activities. So most activities in Google Slides are drag and drop and typing. So you can opt to have, these are some of the words that are discussed in the book, like quarantine. So what you can do is to help them click, drag the word to the picture it corresponds with. So germ. And then we have social distancing. Of course, you have to review the meanings of these words by highlighting the parts in the story where these words were mentioned to help them understand their meanings better. If you don't want to do drag and drop, again, you can use the draw tool. So you can just match like that. Okay, so there are different options. Or for older kids, what you can do is after they match the words, they can type sentences below or have the sentences delivered, have them deliver their sentences orally. So there are plenty of options. Okay. So that's one activity, discussing the key concepts, the big words that were presented in the book. The other activity, okay, so these are fact sheets. Like, what did they learn about the virus? What did it say about the size? So it's a very small type of organism. It's a kind of germ, a bad germ. Effect on people. It makes people sick. Another fact sheet would be the symptoms. What are the things that you experience when you have the virus, like cough, colds, sore throat? So they can type it there. And then what are ways to prevent? So the pictures are prompts. If they can't remember, now if you have older kids, you can just take out the prompts and then let them think of the preventions themselves or ways to prevent themselves. Okay, and then how can we help? Other suggestions coming from them that are not mentioned in the story. So help them think of other ways, like writing letters to frontliners and so on. Okay, this one I like because it's like a virtual paper doll. So it says here, dress up dad. Dad will go out to buy groceries. What should he wear and bring to help protect him from the virus? So it's drag and drop. So you can ask them to name first what the item is. So this is a mask. Where do you put it? You put it in the on the mouth here like that. This is a face shield. Where do we put it? And so on. So you can just complete the picture. I have here an ID because here in the Philippines, we have a quarantine pass. And here in where I live, we're asked to bring IDs as well because in checkpoints, they list the names of people. So that's part of what happens in reality. All right, the other one is a thank you letter to our frontliners. So if they can compose sentences, you can get rid of the sentence structures. But if not, the prompts will help them generate ideas. If we don't want to do letters, they can also have rewards, like what kind of reward or certificate of appreciation do you want to write for our modern day heroes? Okay, Ate Millie says, because it's the ate, although it doesn't say ate, it's very Filipino, diba? Ate. Ate Millie says, it's like a play with Simon Says, right? But in the book, it's the ate who tells the sister, like, what are the things that they should and should not do. So, that's why it's titled that way. That's why the title is Ate Millie Says. Okay, so here it's a drag and drop activity. So if it's right, the kid can just click the picture and then drag it. Yeah. So again, if you don't like to do the drag and drop, you can do the draw part. So just connect like that. That should be fine, okay? And then as you read, you may use lines or stamps so that you can help direct the kid as you read the words, like which word you're referring to as you read aloud. During quarantine, we should stay home. There. So those are some of the things we can do with this one. Alright, another variation for Ate Mili says, instead of using sentences for younger kids, you can just have pictures and then you explain what the picture is, or the kid can explain what the picture is. Like you can ask, okay, what is the kid doing here? Teacher, he's washing his hands with soap. Okay, so is that the right thing to do? Yes, then let's drag the happy face or let's draw a line matching the happy face to the picture. So this is just simply a variation of the previous activity Adi Mili says. So that's it. Okay, you can also do art activities after, like making making promises, like what can the kid promise to do or not to do during quarantine. And then you have like a paper coloring, a hand paper coloring page, and then that's where the kid writes his or her promise or draw. If the kid is not yet into writing, that's one option to draw. So there, so you can think of a lot of accommodations for your kids using Zoom. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. My email is teacherteenasses@gmail.com. My FB page is teacherteen. Okay, so for more information, you can also look at my Google Slides in my page, Teacher Tin. I have there a Google slide on how to use Zoom for online classes and my tips on how to conduct remote learning. I hope you learn a lot from this video. I hope this helps and have fun. Have fun teaching and learning. Bye.